HYPR has some major problems coming out of their factory, to the point to where if you don't want to get a pre-assembled ready-to-ship version like the Signature and you want to spec out a custom controller in a builder, I would steer well and clear away from HYPR, at least for the foreseeable future, until they whip some of the issues in this video into shape. Now, I really didn't want to make this video for two reasons. First of all, it cuts into my review time, B-roll on screen of several products, peripherals if you will, that I have to review, keyboards, mice, headsets, etc. But when a topic or issue this important arises, I need to bring it to the attention of my audience no matter what projects are in queue, because quite simply, people's money is on the line. The purpose of this video is to bring to light some major quality control as well as lead time or wait time issues over there at the HYPR custom controller factory, as well as some damage control information that I received directly from the company themselves, which is valid information and whatnot. However, nothing is really changing, and this has been an ongoing issue for about 3 months now. Plenty of time for them to hire new employees, get them trained up, or at least expedite the process of shipping over there, whether it's crystal meth for their current employees or whatever. A stern pot of black coffee, something needs to happen to expedite the process of orders over there at the HYPR factory. But furthermore than just being backlogged with so many orders that they simply can't catch up and are falling 3-4 months behind with orders. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about multiple customers complaining to me that they've been waiting over 3 months for a $300 controller. Seems like Battle Beaver all over again. But much like Battle Beaver, I still enjoy HYPR controllers, and they still offer some features that I really do enjoy, and they actually make good custom controllers if you can get your hands on one and it's not busted out of the box. Let's get it.
Welcome aboard, Stallion or Stallionette.
Over 200 gamepads tested, not letting off the throttle. Controller looking like a model. Reviews go down smooth. Pass me the bottle. I got paddles. Back to the lobby with a waddle. Gaming news, gear reviews, more controllers than you can use. A man of many faces, recording by the Smokin' Aces. I wasn't born the controller captain. It was you bucking Broncos that made it happen.
Enough input delay, this video is slapping.
Alrighty, Stallions and Stallionettes, welcome to the GamerHeaven. I am your host, AK40 Kevin, and today we are talking about HYPR controllers and how they are having a major issue out of their factory with lead or wait times, as in when you order a controller that isn't one of the pre-assembled, pre-built, ready-to-ship units, for example, the FPS Signature, which you can add Hall effect sticks to, and that is my advice if you're trying to get a controller from HYPR, is to go with the pre-built like the Signature and slap on the HE sticks, although I've heard several complaints of individuals that have purchased those controllers and are also waiting 8-9 weeks. So are they really pre-built and ready to ship at that point? I would say not, but that is my advice, front-loaded. If you are just die-hard looking for a pro controller and you are hell-bent on that particular brand, you don't want to go with AIM, Cinch, Battle Beaver, Megamods, Hex, or the many others that I've reviewed on the channel, and you're hell-bent on this one particular brand, they're having long wait times, and there have been several complaints that when the controllers do arrive, they're either busted out of the box, have subpar circularity and gamepad tester, which luckily I didn't have in my unit. I was around the 6% average error rate with very taut inner and outer dead zones. And I'm proud to let you know I have 0 stick drift. You wouldn't expect that with HE sticks, although I do have a decreased or lessened resistance stick on the left and then an increased or stronger stick on the right. So if I was going to get stick drift with an HE stick, it would be with that decreased tension module, as that does have weaker springs. They're spring loaded. That's what gives it that tension. And if you have a recentering spring go out on you, you got stick drift, bud. Sorry, a little side tangent there, but we're back on target. Now, if this was just 1, 2, 3 complaints, there's no way that I would allocate my personal time to make a video about it. I would address it with the upset customers, bring it to the attention of HYPR. Hey, what's going on? This guy or gal, the Stallion or Stallionette, bought a controller from you a couple months back. Big chunk of change out of their pocket, still waiting on the gamepad. Can you expedite the order? What's going on? But when you're seeing dozens, if not, we're getting to like the triple digit here. We're getting so many complaints. I've actually never seen this many complaints from a custom controller company, and they're all in regards to similar or identical issues, and that is going to be long leader wait times, as in I've been waiting for 3 months for this fucking controller, or 2, quality control issues. The controller comes broken, and the third one, which applies to both of the previous 2 issues, there is no transparency with customer support, or you can't even get anyone on the line, on the wire, not even the phone, but you will not get responses from email. That's a major issue. I'm chilling over here in the corner of my screen in my comment section, and I just want to look at some of these unsatisfied customers over here. Bro, almost 2 months since I ordered a custom HE Hall effect Thumbstick controller, and it's still on building phase. Hyper is a joke, and he's not laughing. Ooh, this one starts with all caps over here, so good thing this didn't get deleted by the auto moderation, the bot moderation on YouTube over here. Don't buy a Hyper controller. He's yelling at us right now because he's passionate. I bought 3 of them last year. They're all PS5 DualSenses, 2 of them with normal thumbsticks, 1 with Hall effect. I'm trying to keep this video short and concise, but you can pause the screen real quick, read this comment. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. Jesus, learn from this experience. Do not buy Hyper. Thank you for the information, friend. Dragon God, going on 3 months waiting for my Hyper. This one's short and simple. Hyper is BS or bullschlagen. Stay away from Hyper. Another warning here. Sent mine back to get fixed, waiting on it to be sent back to see what happens. Got the HE thumbsticks. So again, a lot of these are Hall effect thumbstick controllers that are having issues. They had drift and a 22% average error rate. This sounds like this is probably one of the first batches because they have gotten better with a recalibration board that gets rid of that jitter and also lowers the circularity test in GPT. So it sounds like we got a first batcher over here, but still, he's not satisfied. That's a problem. And then Alex over here, public subscriber to the channel for 11 months. Thank you, brethren. I really appreciate that. I had a Hyper and ended up scrapping it for parts. Come on. Okay, a little praise here. Cool guy 21. Hyper isn't a scam. They just take a while, but you always receive your controller. You get it just 6 months down the road. MeTube29, a public subscriber for 1 year. Thank you, my brother or sister. Ordered a Hyper signature back in July. That's my birth month. Paid for express build shipping delivery. Did they actually expedite it for you? Still got it months later. So no. When I received the controller, the right thumbstick had a click feeling when rotating it. Sounds a lot like my Microsoft Core, which felt like it had a rock quarry or gravel, actual sand particles or grains inside the module. It was super weird. Xkubra here. I bought 2 Hypers last year. Well, we already know where this is going. Well, golly jeepers, those sound like some very unsatisfied customers, and several of them. And those are just a few that I handpicked or cherry picked. There's several more. But now we're going to look at some information directly from the company themselves, from the representative that I have an open line of communication with, which is always fantastic to have with all of these custom controller companies. And luckily, I do have that POC, that point of contact with all of these companies. So if there's an issue with Evil or Cinch or Hyper or AIM, they're either coming out with a new feature or there's an issue with their builder, I can get that information first and slide that out to my audience, the controller heads that watch this channel. Now, before we go into this information, I do want to point out that this is pretty much damage control. I didn't ask for this information. I didn't bring to the attention of Hyper or my representative over there that there were issues, other than mentioning a couple of specific instances over the last few months. Like, hey, a viewer of mine's waiting on a controller, just seeing what's going on with it. But I did mention in a video a few days ago, just a 30-second blurb integrated in that video, that there's a lot of complaints with Hyper controllers. It was during that debunking controller myths video, which I'm sure you caught. If not, it's down there in the description below. But during that video, I mentioned, oh boy, geez, I should probably make a video on this topic as well. Hyper's having a lot of issues. At that time, they sent me this message in Discord. It's basically damage control. Cameron here, founder of Hyper Controllers, saw your recent video mentioning some of the issues with our fulfillment and quality control, and I wanted to reach out personally. I truly apologize for the frustration caused to you and your viewers. Me and the team have taken these concerns seriously and are always actively working to address these issues. Here's what happened. So the first 2 bullet points are going to be in regards to Hall effect thumbstick modules. We understand the complexity of HE thumbsticks, which they didn't the first couple weeks. They do now. Initially, our small production and small team allowed for meticulous builds. When orders exploded, part of that is my fault from that review. I have to admit that we struggled to adapt and scale our production process, hitting huge bottlenecks leading to delays. We've significantly expanded our team and streamlined processes, and we're constantly building and fulfilling orders at an increased rate to catch up and meet demand faster. So this is the biggest issue right here, is those wait or lead times, and it does show that they are addressing it. However, 3 days ago, 6 days ago, I'm still getting these complaints rolling in. This message was just from 3 days ago as well. I don't really think anything's changed yet, but they're definitely making moves in the right direction. Bad batch of HE thumbsticks. So this is the first batch, which only went out to, I'd like to say a handful of customers, but they were swamped with orders, with initial orders, the launch of that feature. So quite a few gamers got those in hand. Anyway, our initial release of HE thumbsticks were the Ginful Black Chip batch, which was sold around September and early October, which are great in terms of response and centering, but bad in terms of jitter. In response to fixing the jitter, while we wait for Ginful, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, Ginful's next production run, we've implemented a Frankenstein build of the Hall effect sticks using Ginful's mechanisms with K-Silver sensors, which is proven to be great as that is installed build on the controller which we've sent you, which I did actually enjoy. I got a 6% average error rate, taught inner and outer dead zones. I played probably 35, 40 hours on the PS5 and another 15 or 20 on the PC with that controller. No stick drift, even on the decreased tension thumbstick module, no issues of any kind. But I also had to wait pretty long for that controller, and I'm a content creator that was waiting for the unit for a review, something that was going to generate sales for them, and I still had to wait a long ass time. So it's not just you, it's not just her over there in the corner who is waving. It's you know, me too over here. Me too movement. I'm also fucked by Hyper. But with the current build, which is a bit of a Frankenstein joint, they are ginful mechanisms with K-Silver sensors. With those bad boys, no calibration board is needed. Good, a little more simplistic. I like that. K-Silver began to ran out of stock and had to be reproduced from the manufacturer. So basically Hyper drained up all of the available stock of these modules from K-Silver. Then it came time that the Ginful released their red chip batch, which fixed the jitter issues from their black chip batch, but now introduced new problems such as poor latency and accuracy issues. We had to stop orders of these modules as their performance do not meet our standards, as well as the negative feedback from our customers. So they ran into another issue here with a batch down the road. So not that initial batch for the first couple weeks that was janked up, but then they got their shit on track with this Frankenstein module, what's in my controller. But then they had further issues, and this is another problem that customers are having. We saw that from that gentleman that said that his stick was all janked up, and it was a Hall effect stick. It's probably one of these. Now, I hadn't heard any complaints about this, but it is brought to our attention from Cameron here, and that is a payment processor issue, particularly around the holiday time. Jimmy and Sally need a new controller for Christmas, and that triggered an unexpected challenge to our payment processor. They've placed a hold on all of our funds and discontinued support for the company, impacting our ability to process refunds. What the fuck? I actually didn't see this when I read through this on my phone the first time. Oh, that's a huge issue. If your company can't process refunds, that's an issue. And I also don't understand this next part. So the payment processor issue, that would impact the ability to process refunds, but how would it affect the ability to increase production capacity quicker? That seems like a separate issue, maybe hiring and training more employees. We're working diligently to resolve this, but due to the sensitive nature of the situation, I cannot share specific dates publicly. This is particularly challenging as a bootstrapped company. We've since moved to a more reliable payment processor that will be able to support our increased demand and model. So fixes are in the works for that. So in a very Linus Tech Tips damage control type of way, they do a here's what happened, here's the problem, here is the solutions. We're taking massive steps moving forward. Our team has significantly grown in numbers, and we've streamlined processes for smooth production and faster fulfillment. We're aware of recent teardowns highlighting earlier build quality concerns. I was unaware of this. I haven't seen any teardowns of these controllers, but good to know as well. I'm happy to share details about our significantly improved internals and components if you're interested, starting with the improved Hall effects. So exactly what was pointed out up here with the Frankenstein build, they're using the K-Silver sensors and updated Ginful sensors. So that, I'm not going to say it's a cause for concern, but that is not the best thing to see, is that some customers are getting K-Silvers, some were getting Ginfuls. I would like if it was all unified and everyone was getting one type of thumbstick module. Anyway, but they are paired with the new calibration boards, and this is fantastic news. We are retroactively fitting these sensors and calibration boards to all back orders free of charge to our customers. So that right there might be where a lot of the delays are, is that there's controllers that are already assembled and were about to be shipped out to their customers, and then last minute they needed to be tear down and had the modules swapped out for something a lot better. So while you are probably waiting an additional 3 weeks to a month, at least you know that you'll be getting a solid Hall effect module out of it, although it's a kind of weird, you're either getting this one or this one. And the reason they're doing that is because of supply. There's a lack of supply from these manufacturers. And then better customer service, which they talked about with the processor issues and other bullet points up here. We're taking the necessary steps and are committed to open communication, and will be updating our community regularly. That was a big issue here, is that there was zero communication from the company, not just updating new potential customers, but the ones that have already purchased. They've spent $200-300 on a custom controller, and they try and get you on the wire through an email, multiple emails, basically pestering or harassing the company. Hey, where's my gamepad? And they're not getting any response whatsoever. So they reach out to me because they assume that I have a better chance of getting in contact with this company, which I do. I have a point of contact over there. That's what this video is for, is kind of to nudge Hyper along. Hey, let's expedite these orders. And also to bring to light some of these issues that I knew about, and also ones that I didn't know about just by reading this information from Cameron, which thank you for being so transparent about all these issues. I appreciate it, and I'm sure my audience does as well. I really wanted to bring to light the issues at HYPR Controller currently, and the fact that they are actively working on it and do have a roadmap forward. Kind of the Cyberpunk 2077 launch situation, that little CD Projekt Red apology video. Hey, we effed up, but Look at the game now. 3 years later, it's fucking sick and it's used as a ray tracing demo. You're not going to be using this controller as a ray tracing demo, but facts are when you do get a HYPR controller in hand, with these changes implemented, the new Hall effect modules and their new payment processor, they're making steps in the right direction. So they're actually working on making the process of getting a controller from their factory to your hands an easier process. But as of now, I would advise if you're trying to pick up a HYPR controller for the next month or so, I would advise going towards the Signature or one of their pre-assembled ready to ship units rather than speccing out a full custom in the builder where you're picking each individual part or component, which I know sucks because if you want a custom controller, you want a custom controller. You want to fine tune, pick each part and make it your own. And at this particular point in time, despite this beautiful message from Cameron, they're getting implemented, but nothing has really changed just yet. So I would give them a couple weeks, maybe a month to make these changes behind the scenes before you start ordering custom controllers from HYPR. Again, having said that, if you are hell-bent on getting a custom controller with Hall effect thumbstick modules, there is a brand, a company that you know and I love that is now going to be offering HE thumbstick modules on their Xbox and PlayStation controllers. Fucking awesome. So that is great because that will give you another option in the custom controller world to get high quality Hall effect thumbsticks, although I have to say they are also off to a rough start, but they did not handle it the same way as HYPR. Video on this company in the near future and how they approached Hall effect sticks, they had some growing pains as well. Got some video proof of how the sticks started and how they ended, how they became. This has been a somewhat quick video from me, AK40Kevin, the controller captain. Thank you for hanging out with me, Stallions and Stallionettes. Drop in the comment section below your opinion of, well, I guess HYPR and custom controllers in general, and I will see you, Stallions and Stallionettes, tomorrow. Don't forget to close the stable door behind you. We had a couple of runaways recently, had to wrangle them back up, lasso their asses and drag them back. Yeah. Yes, sir. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers, so this information will reach and assist them as well. Much like the back of the TV, I've got plugs for all of my socials down there in the description below. And your wallet will greatly thank you if you check the description because there are exclusive discounts on a ton of products, including controllers, KontrolFreeks, keyboards, mouse pads, clothes, and energy drinks. And keep in mind that you, the viewer, keep this channel running. The more Stallions and Stallionettes trotting around the stable, the better. So mollywop that subscribe button like it owes you money, and we'll have the same amount of fun tomorrow.